Welcome to the show that's even more obscure than the Interplanetary Unusual Attacking Team.
The views and opinions of this podcast do not represent official sources.
Because of the extreme amount of bass, listeners' discretion is advised.
This show has been brought to you in part by Two Black Labs Audio. You are listening to A Week in Geekdom. Yes, welcome everybody to another exciting episode, another edition of A Week in Geekdom. I am your host, Giovanni Menendez, and you are tuning in to another week's worth of information. Thank you so much from Wednesday to Wednesday. And as always, you can like and subscribe to our videos here on YouTube. You can follow us on your favorite social media platform. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. We are there. We are there, folks. And as always, you can write to our email. That's aweekingeekdom@gmail.com. And let us know what you think, what you don't like, what you would like to see. Feedback, suggestions, and such are more than welcome. So thank you once again for tuning in. This week we have a bunch of information, and we wanted to kick things off with what we think, or what I think, are some of the stuff that we were talking this week. Starting in video game land, there are a lot of releases because it's fall season for gamers. There's from Shadow of Mordor, which came out last week. There's NBA 2K15, which came out yesterday as of this recording. And like everybody else, I am hooked on Super Smash Bros. For the 3DS. I love this series. I've been playing it since its inception, basically, since 1999, if I remember correctly, 2000, when it debuted on the Nintendo 64. And now, thank you so much, Nintendo, for releasing this bad boy on the 3DS, because I don't have a Wii. Or I should say I don't have a Wii U, so thank you so much. I was not going to buy a Wii U specifically for one title, although, that might change now that I know that a new Zelda game is coming out. So that might change. I'm not an expert by any means. I play for fun, not for glory. And when it comes to my favorite characters, hands down, my top three have always been any form of Link, but preferably Toon Link, Zero Suit Samus, and now Charizard. Those are my three characters that I always use, and they're great characters. And it's a fun game. Really, my only complaint is the online part. I constantly been getting error messages because I cannot play any of the modes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Apparently a lot of people have been getting those error messages. I don't know, maybe they'll fix it up, maybe they won't. I guess I'll have to check that out and see what's happening on that regard. But yes, Super Smash Bros. Finally for the Nintendo 3DS. That's awesome. So thank you for that, Nintendo. And moving on, in comic book land, Marvel is releasing their Axis event. As of now, issue 1 is finally out. We have not yet checked it out. And while, yes, we could do a review, you've probably already picked it out. We're just going to wait a little while. Plus, I'm reading Uncanny Avengers via trades, so it's going to take me a while. I'm still reading that. I'm still catching up with all the Marvel Now stuff. So, I guess I'll talk about it eventually. But it shouldn't take me 2 months to catch up, I think. We'll see how that goes. But speaking of comic books and all things geeky, I know this will offend some, but I'm going to label it under this section. Let's talk some manga news, because as we all know, manga is basically the long-lost cousin of comic books. One of my emblematic series of all time. I grew up with this, and I know a lot of you guys that are watching this probably grew up with this as well. And I'm talking Naruto. Naruto is coming to an end. It feels weird as hell to say it. November 10th, 2014. Just 6 more chapters until it's done. I still can't quite grasp the concept of this long-running shonen ending. I remember back in 2003, 2003 or so, I was probably in 10th grade, maybe 9th, I don't know, something like that. and one of my friends had bought a Shonen Jump Power Pack. It had like 7 manga volumes, 7 #1 volumes of different series that you can, like a sampler, if you will. And one weekend I was like, hey, can I borrow the box set? I could read it over the weekend. And it had like Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, Yu Yu Hakusho, Hunter x Hunter, and something else I'm forgetting. Shaman King, and Naruto. And yes, I was immediately hooked on Naruto. I've been a fan ever since. I know the manga debuted back in '99, which is 15 years ago, and it wasn't, I had no idea of that series until I read the manga in 2003. Then the anime popped up in Cartoon Network, and I watched it religiously. Then it left Toonami, now it's back on Adult Swim and Naruto Shippuden, but I've been collecting all the DVDs since they've come out, basically. The same as the movies, and I'm still trying to get the manga as well. It's one of those series that, even though it may have its faults, it's not perfect by any means, but it's so fun, it's so good, and those early chapters are spectacular. And even with Shippuden and all the crazy hijinks that have ensued with the Ninja War, even the beginning and the whole thing with the Immortals, Pain, every arc has its moments, and it's just such a fantastic series that I'm really sad to see it go. I mean, yes, it'll always be there, and you can always go back and read it or watch it, but every Wednesday or every week, now it's Wednesdays I think, but every day of the week you would expect a new chapter, or you would get the Shonen Jump issues, or the manga volumes, or you could wait for the episodes on TV and on streaming services now. But man, it's just weird. It's been with me since I was a tween, and now I'm an adult, if you will. So it's a little weird. One of the things one of the things I got for my birthday that arrived recently, finally. Trying to catch up, folks, on the Ultimate Ninja series. I finished #2 a couple weeks ago, so now I'm getting Ultimate Ninja Storm 3. I'm already in love with this game. It's fantastic. I'm not the best fighter out there, but I have a fun time playing. Of course, my go-to guy has to be Naruto. He's my favorite character. And I'm trying to catch up with that and keep collecting the anime and probably get the manga as well. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, compared to other shows like Dragon Ball Z, where I watched it pretty much like everybody else in the late 90s, I wasn't around for its inception. Sure, I was a year old when it first started, but I didn't know about it. I learned about it back in 1998, was it? 1999? With Sailor Moon, Pokemon, and DBZ. And if you want to add Beast Wars to it, I know it's not technically full-on Japanese, but you know. Those were the 4 shows that got me hooked into animation and voiceover and all that stuff. But compared to that, where Dragon Ball started in the late 80s, to me Naruto is more emblematic because I read the first volume and then I watched the first episode as it came out and all that stuff. So, you know, it holds a little bit more sentimental value in my eyes, at least. So yeah, in honor of Naruto, we will be doing here at A Week in Geekdom with a host and a co-host. I don't know, whomever decides to grace us with his presence, because you know our co-hosts are never here. We will do some specials, looking back and reviving a special segment that we had 2 years ago on our podcast when this was an audio podcast. We had a segment called The Rundown. We're going to bring that back and see how it goes for now as a limited edition type thing. And we're going to revive The Rundown and specifically talk and dissect the whole Naruto franchise. We're going to combine manga and animes, so it's just going to be one thing. But part 1 of our discussion should be coming out in November. As the series ends, we're going to start looking back the first week of November, I think. And we're going to do that special for you guys, for anybody, any fan of Naruto, to hear us, what we think, what we like, what we didn't like, what we thought about the Zabuza arc, the tuning exams, and all that stuff. So that's going to be fun. Hopefully somebody will be here with me, and we're going to have some fun with that. So look forward to it. Only at Week in Geekdom at YouTube. In TV news, boy oh boy did the superhero season start strong. Back in June or July, we'll confess, we watched the pirated pilot for Flash, so we already had seen it. But it's awesome that now everybody's seen the pilot, and we all love it. 4.5 million viewers tuned into the CW. It's the highest rated show in like 5-6 years maybe. That's awesome. That's the power of superhero, folks, and The Flash is just an awesome show. If you want to check out my full opinion on that, just look back a couple months ago on our episodes where we talked a little bit more in depth. But I'll just say it's a fun, wacky show that if you love DC Comics, you will absolutely love it. Barry Allen is fantastic, and I really like the West family in the show. And there's so many teasers from and rumors that Booster Gold's probably going to show up. Grodd is confirmed to be in the show, and Rogues and everybody. It's just a fun time to be a fan. And speaking of superhero TV, while Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the first 2 episodes were awesome, this latest one was okay. I just didn't really care for the Bobby Drake knockoff, if you will. But other than that, it's another good show. Gotham, the same thing. I did not care whatsoever about the Balloon Man, but everything else was awesome. But yeah, my favorite part of Gotham is the Penguin and James Gordon individually. The rest of the stuff, it's okay, but these 2 characters, I'm really interested in seeing how far they progress. We know how they're going to end up, but who says we can't have fun along the way with new tales? It's an alternate take, people. I've said it for 3 weeks straight. It's an alternate take. Don't take it so seriously. Speaking of TV, we also have been hearing rumors that X-Men or I should say Fox is developing an X-Men live-action TV series, possibly with Quicksilver. That should be entertaining. We'll see how that goes. And of course, Arrow Season 3 is finally here. We are super glad and cannot wait what mysteries lie ahead in the island and in the present time in Starling City or Star City, whatever you want to call it. So yes, I'm looking forward to that. And of course, Constantine, which is a few weeks away. It's a fun time. And finally, I wanted to dedicate the last portion of the show of this week to talk a little bit about Spider-Man. There are countless rumors that basically Marvel and Sony are concocting this awesome sauce of a deal that would maybe, it's just a rumor, maybe see Spider-Man in the cinematic universe in some shape or form. What more could you ask? I mean, that's just fantastic, folks. But the real kicker here is that there are other rumors that the Spider-Man franchise could get rebooted again. A soft reboot, folks, with the Sinister Six heralding that reboot. I get it that it's not the best rebooted franchise ever, but just finish your story. It's the same thing. I'm starting to see a pattern here with Sony. It's the same thing with Underworld, and they're supposedly rebooting the franchise instead of finishing the story. Finish the story you wanted to tell, and if it didn't work, hey, you still made a buttload of money, caught your losses, and let's work out something else. But I think Andrew Garfield is doing a fantastic job as Peter Parker / Spider-Man. I don't know why this obsession. It's like your audience is supposed to have ADD, and let's reboot this every 3-4 years. Come on, I know that you're having trouble with the franchise, and you're gonna push it back to 2017 or something like that, 2018, with Amazing 3. But really, even though these 2 movies had problems plagued in them, I would just take Andrew and incorporate him into the cinematic universe. And if you don't want to follow his backstory with the previous 2 movies, then don't do it. I mean, you've already got an established character. I don't want to see another reboot and another reimagining of Spider-Man and seeing all this big, huge setup again until like 2020 whatever, and then you're going to make him go into the team if possible with Avengers and whatever. If not, I'm just against the idea of constantly rebooting characters and giving us the same formula all over again. No, thank you. In my opinion, they should make the Sinister Six with Andrew Garfield as a secondary character. I don't know which villain they're going to face or what the hell's going to go on in that movie. I will see it. I love Spider-Man. It's my favorite hero. But, yeah, it's just a little weird that you're going to reboot it after 2 movies and in such a short amount of time, I'm still hoping that they'll revert this decision. And by the way, rest in peace, Venom. First, a couple years ago, you were rumored to be in development. Now you were heavily rumored, and not rumored. Now you were heavily into pre-production, I guess, if you will. And now all that has died down, apparently. So we won't be seeing Venom for quite some time. But that's okay. I would prefer if they get everything worked out and they start focusing on maybe sharing the license with Marvel. I don't mind that Sony has the title, but if they could be lenient and work with Disney. I know it's corporate and whatever, but Sony's struggling. It's the one franchise, because the rest, what else are you gonna do? Bond movies only come once every few years. And even then, it's a struggling business. And I think it would benefit Sony to at least share the character. And if you want to watch the individual stories, then watch the Sony movies. And Spider-Man can show up in team-up movies with Marvel. That would be awesome. Speaking of team-up movies, Iron Man 4 supposedly is not going to be made, is going to be made. Robert Downey Jr. is going on saying crazy things. Here's my pitch for an Iron Man 4. Let's make it a real Mandarin fight with Iron Man and have it a team-up with Doctor Strange as a guest cameo. That way you can expand the Marvel Universe and incorporate the first ever team-up movie. I think that would be awesome. If it doesn't work, at least you get Downey Jr. and a proper Mandarin. So there you go, folks. So, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is exciting, and hopefully, yes, I'm praying that it comes to fruition, that we see Spider-Man helping the Avengers, or at least being in there, and some references. That's all I need, just some references that they're there. I don't even need them in the team together. I just want some confirmation that everything's connected. So make it happen, folks. As for stuff I recommend, I gotta go back and recommend these 2 games if you haven't checked them out. Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 3. I got conned and did not realize this was not the full burst edition, which sucks. At least I downloaded the DLC, but And Super Smash Bros. For 3DS. Pick it up. It's awesome. Thank you once again for tuning in, and as always, you can like and subscribe to our videos, follow us on social media, write to our email, and let us know what you think. Thank you once again, folks. I've been your host, Jovan Menendez, and I will see all of you at a later video. People keep spamming Little Mac. It's getting annoying.